Hi, today I'm going to show you a positional game. This was played between Anatoly Karpov and Van Delvin in the year 1988 in Amsterdam. So here white is Karpov and here he played d4, knight f6, c4, e6 and nf3, b6, g3, bishop b7. This is called Queen's Indian defense. Now the main idea is to occupy the e4 square. The game goes on where both the players will fight for e4 square and black will try to play knight e4 and f5 in one point of the game, where white tries to bg2, knight c3, q c2, castle. After rook e1 he tries to play e4. Okay, if white got e4 very easily, then white is advantage and black should not allow this to be happen. Okay, fine. After bg2, bishop e7, knight c3, knight e4. Now black plan is very clear. He tried to occupy with f5 at one point, d6, knight d7 to f6 if possible, and castle, and black is okay in this position. So Karpov, he played a little interesting move, bishop d2, which is a very few players will play this move. Why? Because he is giving double bishop without any reason, but still he have the control. He want to play e4 at any cost. Now okay, the opponent played bishop f6, which is okay. Now he even can play f5, I think, at this moment. Okay, bishop f6, and he castled. Black castled. Rook c1. Okay, d5. At this moment, d5 is a very critical decision to take. Because now he is closing this bishop at a cost of pawn structure, pawn chain in the center. After c, now black, now he, after c d5 he played e d5. Before e d5, I think he should take knight d2. Why? Because this bishop plays a crucial role in this game. After bishop e3, even after c5, we will be left with two hanging pawns, and this bishop controls everything. Even after e d5, now white don't need to give this bishop, and he'll play bishop e3 or f4. Okay, after even, and one more thing, after knight d2, not knight, now after c d5, knight d2, at one point black can even plan to play this bishop back to e7 to d6 and h6, followed by knight d7 or knight to f6 to e4. This plan is very clear for black, whereas white cannot do much about this. He cannot break this pawn structure, and this bishop on d6 cannot be attacked so easily. With bishop on d2 in the same position, with bishop on d2 he can play bishop e3, or if you the bishop e7 and d6 plan, he can challenge with bishop f4, and later he can do a minority attack like this. Okay, now he played e d5, and immediately Karpov realized this and played bishop e3. So he played knight a6 and Karpov replied queen a4, and he played c5. See this position, both are in fighting with the center squares, and this bishop is little passive, whereas white have a good chances of opening all the pieces and having a very good pawn structure. Okay, now Karpov played rook fd1 and queen e8. He's removing this queen from the pin and also trying to exchange these queens, which gives black very good chances of equaling or even advancing this pawn at one point of the game. Okay, now Karpo don't want to exchange pieces and when go to an end game, so he played queen a3. Now he was threatening knight d5. I think he can take knight d5 because a6 is hanging. So he immediately took knight c3. Here, Karpov played queen into c3, which is good, but even b into c3 is a little bad. Why? Because don't want to close this diagonal after keeping the rook so much. You don't want to close this diagonal, and there are hardly any counter chances for white now. So he needs Karpov is trying to keep this d pawn a big weakness and play against it. Okay, queen c3. Now Karpov played queen e7 with the idea rook to e8 or any d8 or even c8. Okay, now played queen d2, removing this from pin and also giving an extra support. And okay, play rook fe1. Now here Karpov doesn't want to give any counter chances like c4 at one point, b5, knight c7, a5, creating a big great passed pawn. So he played b3. But c4 here, c4 cannot be played. Why? Because if you played c4, for example, you can counter with b3 and b5 will be countered by a4, and this pawn will be a great weakness and it will be directly lost. But now, okay, with an extra measure, Karpov played b3. Okay, fine. After rook a, he played rook a d1 and rook to e1 back again, supporting this pawn e2, and after this capturing, he have an extra support on e2. Okay, cd4, bishop d4, knight c5, and here Karpov played q b2, which is slightly incorrect, I guess. Why? Because he can play queen to f4, eyeing on after capture of bishop d4. He can play knight d4 and to f5. This is actually a very good attacking plan with still a weakness of d5. He can close it with e3 and he can have a good attacking chances. Okay, after q b2, he took bishop into d4 and queen into d4. No, actually he played knight into d4. Why? Because after queen into d4, this knight e6 and d4 raises this bishop at one point, and he also want to open up this bishop with bishop d4. So now he played queen f6 and pinned this queen. He played rook e1 to d1, supporting this. Now knight e6 and rook c2, rook c8 and rook d. Rook c d2. Now black white is planning to grab this pawn. Simple with this massive pieces on the d file. White have full control over d4, and black is trying to get some counter on with these open files. Although this bishop is too bad for black. Okay, now he played rook e d1, and now Karpov played a very good move, I guess. He activated his last piece, bishop h3, pinning pinning this. Okay, queen to h6. Now bishop to g4. Uh, okay, after he played rook c5, removing from the pin and giving extra support to this pawn. So now Karpov played h4 with like his style. Why? Because now he can play many options like even b4 is good, but his style, he won't let opponent to give any counter chances like knight g5 to h3, or even knight g5 to e4. Okay, so he played h4. After h4 he played rook e8, and here I think he played one more positional good move like bishop f3, giving no chance for this bishop to go anywhere. Why? Because if he goes anywhere, he immediately reply with b4, attacking this rook and grabbing this pawn. So he played with queen f6, preventing knight to f5, and now b4. Okay, after b4 he played rook to c4. Okay, now he played king g2. Now h6. So he played e3 and consolidating the center. Now he played rook e2 c8, queen b3, and he played queen e7. Now he played knight f5. Queen e7 I think is little dubious. Why? Because the queen is well placed on f6, even though it is not doing anything. He could have tried queen, maybe something else like g6 is little interesting. Maybe, or should not allow f5 to be occupied by the knight. Okay, queen e7 and knight f5. Here Van der Wijn just mistake. He have took this pawn. Why this is mistake? Because after exchanging all the pieces, white gets a fork and loses the exchange. He can even play queen f5 and have some more fight, but still this position is very clear because this pawn is going down now. Okay, he played queen b4, bishop rook b4, and knight e7 check, king f5, and knight c8, bishop c8, and bishop into d5. Here in time he made a blunder of knight c5. Immediately Karpov sees this move, and he wants to be this rook to be in any of the white squares, such that this bishop will attack this rook and loses this bishop with a check. So he immediately played a3 and rook a4, bishop c6, attacking this rook, and this loses the bishop. This is how we learn the positional gameplay part 2. Hope you enjoy. See you in the next class. Bye.